good, everybody? Thank you guys for listening. This is episode 26 of Tune Check. I'm your host, Chris. And on this episode, we're just going to get into some news. We still got some news from Kendrick. And the only album review I got, the only album that I want to talk about, the one that's, been up and everybody's been talking about, the new joint by Drake and Party Next Door. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. But like I said, let's start off with the news. First, I'm going to speak about Kendrick since, we're still riding that Super Bowl wave and stuff. So continuing off from my last episode. So it turns out that his Super Bowl performance was the most watched Super Bowl with 133.5 million viewers, surpassing Michael Jackson's Super Bowl. I think that's amazing. His performance was probably the best thing, or probably the best one recently. This one was really good. I had my whole episode about it. Go check it out. And, the Super Bowl is usually just made for artists to pretty much put them on the spotlight and pretty much increase their streams and revenue and in the long run, and that's what's been happening. Because of his performance, it turns out that GNX actually expected to be number one. I'm pretty sure it is number one by the time this episode comes out on Tuesday. So it's going to be number one on the Billboard 200. Sold over 230, I think it sold 247K units. And this is all from like physical album sales, like physical copies of the actual album and then some vinyls that were shipped out to fans afterwards. I still gotta pick up my vinyl. I haven't picked it up. I've been like looking at the clear one on his website for like a minute, and it's not really a bad price either. So, I've been interested in doing like unboxing videos for vinyl since I have like so many wrapped in plastic still. But back to the news, his album Damn also came back to the charts at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 200. Not Like Us is returning to number 1, or it is not going to be number 1 on Billboards by the time this comes out. And it's also number 1 on the global Spotify charts. Kendrick stream for all the songs he performed during his set all went up. Not Like Us went up by like 430%. Then also Humble, DNA, Peekaboo. And then another like thing that was related to this was Kai Cenat. He went on his stream and was like, yo, the Super Bowl added all those audience noises in the background because when I was there, nobody was making noise. And I necessarily don't really believe that. I feel like people were cheering because he legit has the most views. So it's just like, I mean, I know like views clearly it's for people that was like tuning in on the television and stuff, but still like I'm pretty sure people there was excited and really wanted him to perform as well. So I don't know if it's cap or not. Maybe he's trying to get back on Drake's good side or something. But I mean, he also was listening to the P&D album with Drake and was really fucking with it too. So maybe it is because of that, but I don't know. And then Kendrick also released behind the scenes, pics and videos of his performance, them rehearsing and stuff. It's like in black and white, he has Samuel L. Jackson too, and I thought it was pretty dope. And I'm looking forward to his tour. I know he's gonna deliver. Like I said, SZA did great too. I'm looking forward to her performing as well. So I'm gonna make like a little video when I go see him and stuff. I'm gonna probably do that for all the shows I'm gonna catch this year. But speaking about great performers, next we got Chris Brown, Residuals. It reached 100 weeks at number 1 on the R&B and hip hop airplay charts. So, shout out to CB, the GOAT. Like I said, his album 1111 is really good, it deserved that Grammy. Like it's still in rotation to this day, like on my phone when I go to work, when I'm driving, in a crib, whatever, late at night when I just want to listen to stuff. It's really a great project. And then even Tank started like a whole Residuals challenge. It's been fire. People just been doing their own verses on the song, non-celebrities and then celebrities like Trevor Jackson, Vito. Tank even did his own rendition of it too. And it all sounded really good. So then next we got Tyler, the Creator. He was the best-selling male artist for 2024 with 735K albums sold. Shout out to Tyler. I think he had the same record for 2022. So I think that's amazing considering that we're in like a streaming era and, downloads and streams are really what's making revenue right now. And I know he's on tour right now and he's having like a great time. He was like throwing money on stage at his show last night and stuff at one of his tour stops. And he was talking his shit. He even performed his freestyle of Hey Now on stage. I think that's dope. Next, we got Fetty Wap. His song again re-entered the Billboard Hot 100 at 42. This song peaked at 33 10 years ago. I have no idea why this came back. I don't know like what started this trend to make his song into a meme, but I genuinely love the memes that I've been seeing, especially like the anime ones, the ones with like Marvel and the Avengers and stuff, or with like cartoons. I think it's hilarious. I think it's dope as fuck. Shit makes me laugh. And the song is fire too. And Fetty Wap released a really good album back in 2022 that I still listen to this day. But these memes are hilarious. I love it. I love like the creativity. I love what people come up with. I think it's dope. And then next we got Wiz Khalifa. So he's just been on a whole like run, just teasing new music recently. And I'm excited, to be honest. I feel like we could really use some more songs from him right now, some more music from him. He was on stream with PlaqueBoyMax, and he sampled January 28th, and I thought that was pretty fire. But the other song that he also made with him on stream, he released as a video.
Shit gets crazy. Can hardly recall all the shit that I done. I told her bring more, I can't only do one. Got here tonight and I'm gone when the sun come up. It's early as fuck, I'm the only one up.
So I'm still waiting to see if they're gonna drop the January 28th one. I know it's like sample, they might have to like clear it, but hopefully they can, because it just sounded so good. And then speaking about good music drop, we got AJ, Tracey, and Jorja Smith. They released a new song on Wednesday, the past Wednesday, and it's called Crush. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all seen it. This clip of her singing the song, rapping it was going viral.
I don't want to cause any problems. You're only trying to please yourself. You know I got what you're after, but you want something else. You just want to love me for... I don't want to take it all. Like I spent time trying to build, and you just want to make me fall. What? I like that.
I love this beat. I love her voice on this song. And I love AJ's flow too on it. It's like mad addicting. The snippet was fire, and then I just had to like check it out. And then when it came out, I just added it to my playlist. Like I love how Jorja raps on it. It's like very like calm, like she's just speaking and shit. And her voice sounds so good on it, and it sounds really well with the beat. So I'm really hoping this song like blows up a little bit more because it's just fire. Then afterwards, we got Leon Thomas, my boy Andre from Victorious. That's how I'm gonna know him from. I think everybody knows him from that, but he's really like tied into the music industry and stuff as a writer for a lot of people, producer and everything. So shout out to him. I'm happy he's getting, his flowers now. I'm happy he's in like the limelight. So he released an exclusive rendition of Yes It Is from his album Mutt on Outside. Mutt is a really great album. It was one of my favorite albums of last year. I love the production there. I love what he did. His R&B style, I think it's dope. Always had an amazing voice. And his lyrics, like I said, he's a great writer. But he did a really good job with this performance.
Oh, yes it is. All I hear is yes. Oh, yes it is. Oh, my ears are sensitive. Tell me that it's mine. Oh.
I love how he sounded live. I like how he changed it up. I thought it was really interesting. And I'm really hoping he still gets, more like fame from this album, and that it continues to blow up and continues to make numbers, because I know it just re-entered the chart or something, or one of the songs entered the chart. Forgot which one, or I forgot what number. Like I said, I'm hoping his career really shoots up a little bit more from this, because he's just a great artist overall. Now, speaking about videos, K1 and Kehlani, they released their video for Worst Behavior Remix, and the chemistry that they had in this video was crazy. Like, I was reading the comments, everybody was just mad excited. They was damn near like about to fucking shit. Like, that shit was crazy. But it was a really good video. It's a dope song too. Kehlani, she's a GOAT. I feel like she's really been like doing well with her features recently, from Jordan to K1. She's released 2 like great projects last year, Crash and then her mixtape. So I'm hoping we get to see something else. I think she's still on tour, or her tour just ended. I'm not too sure. But again, she's a great artist, great singer. I've always loved Kehlani. So shout out to both of them. And next we got The Weeknd. So Hurry Up Tomorrow reached 1 billion streams. It's fucking crazy. I'm telling you, he's going to be the artist of the decade. I do not see anybody else being this. I know we got like 5 years left, but just the things that he's done within the past 5 years and the records that he's breaking, it's insane. Hurry Up Tomorrow also earned his biggest US sales of his career at 491K. After Hours held this title previously. That came out, like a couple years ago. And he also released a video for Cry For Me. This song's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. And like I said, this album is album of the year. I don't see any album outdoing it. Like this Drake and P&D album that came out, it was great, but like still, The Weeknd still held that shit down. He's still holding it down. I genuinely do not see anybody beating this album. And like I said, The Weeknd's doing really good. I can't wait for his tour. I can't wait till I go. It's like a couple months away. I'm excited. I'm definitely like rack up so I could buy some merch and shit. I'm gonna just all out there. But shout out to The Weeknd for real. Happy that, this album was great. His last album, supposedly. The next we got Ty Dolla $ign. So it seems like he had enough of Kanye, to be honest, because he removed all mentions of Kanye and, the Vultures album and stuff from his IG and his feed. He only has up his recent video that he posted for his song Wheels Fall Off, and also mention of his next album Tycoon. But I mean, I could also see him just being tired of Kanye, because he's just going on a rant, and it's honestly kind of disgusting now, the shit that he was doing. And like, I don't even want to talk about it or mention it because it's just like that bad. But You know, Ty also posted up he doesn't condone any bullying or hate speech. And like I said, this is all after Kanye went on a rant again. I mean, he's still ranting to this day. Like I just seen him say some more stuff, and it's just like, bro, you're bugging. Like just shut the fuck up. And the last piece of news revolves around Drake. Considering all the hate that some people are giving him right now, you know, he's still out in Australia, just chilling, having a good ass time. You know, after the Super Bowl, there was a video of him performing Knife Talk, and he kind of changed the lyrics. I know he mentions the beef a lot, and he wants to seem like he's not affected, but I feel like it did affect him in a way. But, you know, I'm not going to hound him for talking about it. Like, you know, it's his problem, not ours. So he can talk about it all he wants. But it's crazy because he really stays, like, relevant. Even if he's not talking about it, other people still mention it and ask other people about it, like, in interviews and stuff. Like, for example, DJ Mustard, he just was on Big Boy, and they asked him about the whole thing. And DJ Mustard was like, just make great music and you'll be all right. I mean, he's been making great music for years, and people still came for him. And then he was like, you know, stop doing all the antics to get attention. But it's like people like you keep giving him attention, you know, like y'all keep talking about him and mentioning this man. He's still relevant. Y'all still using it for promotion. But yeah, like on his tour, he was doing like gender reveals and shit. He gave the lady 50K afterwards and shit. That shit was funny as fuck.
So you're pregnant right now, and you don't know what you're having yet. Oh shit. Thank you for letting me do this. I've never done a gender reveal before. Well, Sally, it says right here that it indicates that the fetus is a mini Drake. Sally's having a boy, and Sally's getting 50,000 AUD from the boy too.
Then Ebro was getting backlash from calling Drake a sickness in the game. You know, if that isn't hate, I don't know what is. And then Drake responded by posting on his Finsta plot twist where he released all the songs on 100 gigs and stuff. I thought it was funny. And then he had Joe Budden as well. Joe Budden went on the rant too. You know, Joe and Drake been going back and forth for years. But that Ebro shit is crazy. Like, people just want to discredit this man for everything that he's done throughout his entire course of his career, from putting artists on, from shouting out artists, from always showing love to, you know, other genres and stuff. But now everybody just wants to forget that and hate on him. Like, that's the reason why I didn't like this beef that much, because people were trying to discredit him and then discredit Kendrick as well. And it's just like, yeah, I could be fans of both. It's not really that serious, you know? Like, I'm fans of both. I love both of them equally. Like, I grew up listening to them. Yeah, sometimes not all of their projects are, you know, hits or some of the songs that they do, but regardless, they're still both great artists with their own styles that have given so much and inspired a lot of people. So I just don't understand it. Then afterwards, we got Freddie Gibbs. Like, he started saying that Drake and P&D stole his album art and like his logo with the money signs from his last album, I believe, or one of his albums. Why didn't you say something like when it was announced or like when they showed the images instead of waiting until the day before? So I get it if you feel that way. I don't think it's that deep. I don't really think they did. It kind of seems like he did it just to like spark some stuff for himself or get people to check out his one of his albums or his last album. But due to this album dropping, Drake became the most streamed rapper on Spotify, surpassing Kendrick. Kendrick had like 90 million or 92, I think, and Drake has like 93 right now. Drake was the number one streamed rapper last month as well for January. You know, he's carrying on his title from last year for being the most streamed every month. And Drake also announced that he's doing the Wireless Festival for the 20th anniversary. So he's going to be performing 3 days, and each day is going to have like different sets. Each day is going to have different guests as well. So day one is going to be Drake and P&D, and then Summer Walker is going to be a guest. Second day is going to be Drake and Mandem. And then Sunday is going to be Drake featuring Burna Boy and Vybz Kartel. You know, I think this is dope. I think I really fuck with it. But I know the people at Rolling Loud is mad because I remember a couple months ago, one of the co-founders was on Big Boy, and he was saying that Drake is ducking them because they want him to perform. And they offered him 3 days of Drake, you know, like 3 days for him to perform. And I think he still turned it down. And he was also saying that like another festival was going to steal their idea. And I guess it turns out it might have been Wireless.
You don't have to say who it is.
No, I'll say it. I don't care.
Okay.
Like, I feel like Drake's ducking us, you know? Like, I got no beef with Drake. I like Drake. I think he's a great artist.
Have you been feeling that for years?
Yeah, we've been trying to book
So this
him.
isn't not like
We've been
us
trying to book him
stuff,
forever.
right? Okay.
We even offered Drake 3 nights of Drake once. Like, this was like, yo, they were like, you need to make it special. Like, all right, 3 nights of Drake. You be the headliner for 3 nights.
Wow.
I heard a certain festival in Europe is about to steal our idea and do that.
They let him do it, and he said, yeah. So I know they're tight. I know they're mad as fuck. I think it's hilarious. But all right, let's get into this review. The only album I want to talk about is Drake and P&D. Some Sexy Songs for You. Yes, I know that we had, Jacquees and Dej Loaf drop. Fuck a Friend Zone 2. We had They drop as well. Fuck a Friend Zone 2 was fire. I thought it was a great album. But I'm going to talk about that possibly next week. They also dropped. I'm going to talk about that next week as well. West Side Gun dropped. Oh, Jeezy dropped as well. I heard it. It was alright. It wasn't like the greatest thing, but he has a couple bangers on there too. But let's get into it. So Drake and Party Next Door released Some Sexy Songs for You, an anticipated album for a couple months now. I didn't think it was gonna drop because of his issues with his label, but he managed to actually, release it. He put up pre-order links for, downloads and stuff. So, and it broke a few records, to be honest, so far. It's the fastest album this year to reach #1 on Apple Music in 7 hours from its release. It's currently #1 in 72 countries on Apple Music. They was even out here buying dinner for people on Valentine's Day in New York in some restaurant in New York. That's like great advertising, great marketing. You even had Young Thug post up and say the boy back at #1. And it's true, he is. The album is currently the second biggest day opening streams of this year so far with 55.4 million. I think the first is The Weeknd. So this album has 21 songs on it. It's an hour and 14 minutes long. Features are Pim, Chino Pacas, and Yeba. I love this album. I thought it was dope. It sounded great. I love how they blend their styles together. You already know, like Drake and P&D delivered great songs, great collabs. So I didn't expect anything less from this. I knew this was gonna be a hit. Drake is like 3 for 3 right now with collab projects, to be honest, because Her Loss and then What a Time to Be Alive and now this one, amazing. But this was an R&B album. This was like R&B Drake. And I remember a few years ago, I think like the early 2010s, late 2000s, he said that he wanted to release like a full R&B album. So this possibly might be it. I know he raps on certain songs, but it's really mostly just him and P&D like singing on tracks and stuff. To be honest, at times, like certain songs, the way he was coming about it, the vibes it was given, it reminded me of like Take Care a few times and also like So Far Gone. I feel like he blended some elements from those two albums and put it on here, and I think it worked well. So the first track is CN Towers. I think that was a great opening. I feel like Drake's always had good openings for his albums. And this song actually dethroned Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA for the #1 spot on Apple Music. And some of the songs from his album are currently on the top 10 for Apple Music and stuff. The second track is Mothballs. It took me a while to like this one because I didn't like the beginning, but then once I started listening to it more, I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty good. I was fucking with the transition. I love when P&D came in and started singing. The way he went about this track reminded me of P&D 2 and 3. Those are like my favorite albums of his, honestly. So I definitely love that nostalgia, that little like throwback vibe from him. The next track is called Something About You. And when I was listening to it, it kept reminding me of Hours of Silence. It sounded like this track should have been on Her Loss, honestly, because it was giving that same mood, just due to like how Drake approached it from him singing over like this dark kind of moody beat. And then the transition to like more of a trap sound. I know Hours in Silence is like the opposite. I feel like this should have been on Her Loss. Like I said, it fit that vibe more, but regardless, this is a great song at the end of the day. Crying in Chanel is the next song. This is the one that he previewed. He released a snippet of the ending. This one I was fucking with too. I hate that the ending was probably the best part. I kind of wish he would have like made it a little longer. Like it is my least favorite of the album, but it's still a good song. All these songs are good. It's just my least favorite. Spider-Man, Superman is the next track, and this gave me Take Care vibes, especially because he sampled himself. He sampled The Real Her from Take Care. And I think he did a great job. Like we reached the point where he's sampling himself, and I think that's dope. But I love the song. I think he did a great job on it. I think P&D did a great job on it too. Then the next track is called Deeper. This was like legit a P&D track, P&D song. This song was so fire. I loved how P&D like sang on it. I loved the beat. It was honestly one of the most perfect songs on this album. And I definitely like go back and listen to it still, like just that one and among other ones too, but it was a really good song. I wish it was a little longer, but other than that, like this song was perfect. It was amazing, and I'm happy that he was by himself on it. I know Drake probably would have done a good job, but I think it wouldn't have hit the same if he was on it. Song after that is called Small Town Fame. Drake has some bars and shouted out, I guess, Charlie XCX. I mean, the song was alright. It was cool. I was fucking with it, but I'm guessing he was like shouting her out to just, big her up and stuff. A lot of people took it as like hate, like, oh, he's coming at her. But when you actually listen to it and read the lyrics, I'm just like, nah, he's just shouting her out. Like, it ain't nothing crazy. Then track 8 is called Pimmie's Dilemma. Pimmie is basically an artist, songwriter, engineer from Houston. He released like a snippet of the song that she was making on his IG and stuff. You know, she has like a couple like projects out on Apple Music, like some EPs, singles. You know, like people were like, "Oh, who is this person?" And like I said, she's from Houston. You know, Drake goes to Houston a lot. He grew up there. So most likely they connected somewhere there. And, you know, this is just another artist that he pretty much like found and put on, you know, for example, like Yeba and everybody else that he was beefing with. And this also proves that the Drake effect is real because her listener count on Spotify like skyrocketed. Like that shit went up. Like on some Cardi B shit, that shit went up. So she went from having what like 32,000 monthly listeners to 1,800,000 listeners. Almost like that shit is crazy. The Drake effect is real. Like I don't care what anybody says. This is just another example of it. Track number 9 is called Brian Steele. Basically, is named after Young Thug's lawyer. So he shouts him out during the song. Talks about the rap beef. You know, he says, "Put aside all the beef. I can't." I think this is connected to when Young Thug, you know, posted up on Twitter saying, "Metro, Future, and Drake, you know, we're all brothers. We should all be making music, and it's not gonna sound the same if we don't." So I think he just responded to that like, "Nah, I can't. I'm not doing that shit." I mean, it's clearly like Metro just went off for no reason and then tagged along Future. I know Drake and Future like were friends, and Drake probably trying to rekindle that. And then in the song, he also says, "I got plaque from not brushing my teeth." This is a reference to him earning 15 more songs that are certified diamond. You know, the motto started from the bottom, headlines, "Just hold on, we're going home," "Passion Fruit," "Fucking Problems," "Best I Ever Had," "One Dance," "Hotline Bling," "Work," "Sicko Mode," "God's Plan," "Life is Good," "Love Me," and "No Guidance." So all of these are either certified diamond or are gonna be certified diamond. And he now became the artist with the most diamond singles in history. I think Post Malone had this record with like 9, and now Drake beat him with 15. Fire ass reference, that's definitely a flex. And then on Give Me a Hug is like one of those soft beats when it starts off, but you know, like whenever Drake gets on one of those kind of beats, he raps his ass off, he goes off, and that's exactly what he did. You know, he mentions the rap beef and starts by saying Drake elimination, fake intimidation. You know, he bigs himself up. I think he also referenced Kendrick's Lamar interview about him from like a couple years ago when they asked him about Drake and all that stuff, when he was like saying, "Yeah, you know, he put me on, this and that." So I think that was a reference to that as well. He also says people want to see "Rip Me" on a t-shirt like I'm Hulk Hogan. I thought that was funny as hell too. The beat switch was fire on this song. You know, he shouts out 21 Savage as well for checking up on him and stuff. He also shouts out Melissa Ford and says, "You a legend from the 6, but I hate to see you with a dick sucker." That was a shout to Joe Budden. There was a video of Melissa like listening to it on the podcast with them, and like you could tell like she's happy and excited and was really fucking with it, but she didn't want to say nothing because Joe Budden was right next to her.
Melissa Ford, you a legend from the 6. Hate to see you with a dick sucker.
Hate to see it.
Got a lip trembling. Yeah, legend, nigga.
You are a legend from the 6.
Let's get it.
So flip.
Really do it. Savage, you the only nigga checking on me when we really in some shit, brother. Melissa Ford, you a legend from the 6. Hate to see you with a dick sucker.
Hey, rewind that again. I don't think you got it.
Savage, you the only nigga checking on me when we really in some shit, brother. Melissa Ford, you a legend from the 6. Hate to see you with a dick sucker. Shit about to be a lit summer. You the only
request now.
We oftentimes do comparisons, so we're saying that it's the supreme.
We're not playing
song.
no Drake, nigga.
We're not playing that, lad.
Just because he tried to come make nice with you on some divide and conquer shit, like he always do. Big up the girl to get at the nigga I'm beefing with. Don't fall for the fucking trap.
And before like he released the song, Joe Budden went off on a rant against Drake and stuff for like posting him up during Drake's album rollout on his Finsta. I thought it was hilarious. I definitely love how petty Drake could be. Like, yeah, sometimes it's a little too much, but sometimes it's like just the right amount. It's funny as fuck. But he kind of contradicts himself on this song because before he was talking about it and he said, "I can't put the beef aside." And then on this song, he says, "Fuck a rap beef. I'm trying to get the party lit." So it's just like maybe he recorded these songs at 2 different times, you know, within the last couple months. So maybe it went from how he really feels to like how he's feeling right now, considering that he was on tour in Australia. I think he still is, you know, making his money, having a good time. Then the third beat switch on the song caught me by surprise. You know, it goes into like R&B sample and stuff. And I thought it was a dope ending to the whole song. It was really dope. You know, he started singing along and shit. I think the song was fire. And, you know, it's one of the songs that's blown up from the album. This is the song that made Young Thug post up like, "Oh, the boys back to #1. I mean, other things too, but it was referencing this. And then even Kanye was like, "Yo, Give Me a Hug" is like a fire song. Track 11 is called "Raining in Houston." This is one of my favorite songs in the album. This was like 100% R&B Drake. I loved it. The beat switch was fire. I love this flow on his part. It was amazing. I definitely enjoyed this track. It's one of my favorite tracks. It's one of the songs I go back and listen to, back and forth. Then the transitions to the next track called Lasers was mad smooth. And P&D, like he was just riding that beat, going off. The song was perfect. This was one of the stronger songs in his album as well. Drake did a good job on here too, but I definitely would not have minded if, P&D was by himself. Then number 13 is Meet Your Padre. Yo, this song was the funniest song I've heard in a while. I don't care what anyone says. I love the song. I still fucked with it. I was seeing people say, "Oh, he's stealing this, he's stealing that." He's being a culture vulture, and I'm just like, nah, bro. Like, I'm Hispanic. I did not think anything of this. I thought it was a dope song. Shows how versatile he is, especially P&D. All of these styles. And Chino Pacas was amazing on here too. Latin dance kind of thing. And a lot of people seem to forget that Drake's done like Latin features, and he definitely helped, Chino Pacas out, especially since he also had Drake on his album a few months ago. So I don't really see it as an issue. I thought the song was dope. A lot of people was hating on the song, but I think it was fire. I really loved it. I loved the ending, especially with P&D. Then we got Nokia, bro. That shit. Oh man, I didn't think it was gonna be like that fire. When I heard it at first, I'm like, okay, this is different. But when like you actually let it play and let that shit like sit, played in the car in the crib, like that shit is fire. It's a good ass fucking song. That shit had me like.
OVO Sound 2025.
Is it Stacey? Is it Becky? Is it Keisha? Is it Anthony? Was it Danny?
I love the memes I see for it. I love the people reacting to it. I think it's one of the best songs on his album. I could definitely see this being played everywhere in the club, to like the mall, like fucking stores, random ass stores, for real. Like this song's probably gonna be in a lot of places. Like you about to go into Forever 21 and just be like, where the fuck the function? Like for real. Then track 15, it's called Die Trying. This was a different vibe. It was given like, country pop kind of thing. I feel like this is due to Yebba, but Yebba's also like very R&B-ish as well. But I did love like her background vocals on this. But this was a different sound for Drake and P&D, and I think they did a good job. Just another example of their versatility. And Yebba sounded great at the end as well. It was a small feature, but it was perfectly placed. But like I said, she was doing like a lot of the background vocals and stuff. Track 16 is Somebody Loves Me. This is where the album kind of switched back to the initial mood, from the beginning of the album. But it kind of reminded me of Drake's Race My Mind a little bit, the way that it was making me feel, like the mood, the vibes it was giving. And that's one of my favorite Drake songs as well. P&D did a good job here too. I love this verse. It was definitely one of the better ballads on here. Definitely one of the better songs. Track 17 is called Celibacy. This is like the most randomest name, and the way he starts it was funny too. But at the end, like this was actually a really good song. I liked how he kept the previous theme from the last song and carries it over here and just grows on it. From trying to find somebody to actually having them and wanting them now and stuff, He also has a lyric on here that says, "We're not like them, baby, and they're not like us." So that was, a shot to Kendrick Lamar, not like us. The next song is called On My Way. It's a continuation of Celibacy. I feel like this could have been like one big song with Celibacy, but I guess they just wanted to make it a separate track. Glorious is another song that made me laugh because he sampled Ice Spice in the background and he was rapping like her with her flow, that she never changes. That's like mad easy to do. And I thought it was hilarious. And he raps it over a drill beat. And then he even says like "gra" and shit. The beat switch in the middle with the guitar was pretty fire. I like how P&D did his background vocals and the hook. Then the next two tracks is When He's Gone and then there's Greedy. I feel like these two tracks were like perfect ways to end the album. Drake's also been really good with outros. Greedy was probably one of the best outros he's given us. It was a fire way to close the album. This is definitely a nice R&B song. This whole thing was a nice R&B project. I like when, artists are consistent with themes and moods and keep like the theme of the project throughout the whole thing, and that's what they did. Some Sexy Songs for You. They definitely kept the theme of the album. It's definitely a Valentine's Day album. Speaking about love and wanting someone, to like living luxurious, doing luxury things, giving them luxury gifts. To him addressing like even the rap beef himself and saying stuff about it. But I think this album is fire. I enjoyed it. I've heard it like multiple times. It's been played back to back a lot and I'm fucking with it. I don't care what anybody says. Like when this album came out initially at like midnight on Friday, people were like, nah, it's mid. And mind you, it came out at 12 a.m. and then 10, 15 minutes later, people was like, nah, this album was trash. This shit has mad skips, this and that. I'm just like, yo, like the album is almost an hour and a half long. You guys are saying that you guys heard it in 20 minutes. Like that shit is crazy. But I really enjoyed how they had like songs together and then songs by themselves, just like how we did in Her Loss. And look how great that turned out. And I loved it. I think it was dope. Go run it up. Go check it out. You know, go make your own opinion about it. Don't listen to what the internet is saying because everybody's just being a hater. But that's it for this episode. I just wanted to mention all of that. I just wanted to talk about this album, like I said, because it's probably one of the bigger releases of the year. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. Like I said, go check out my other episodes. Go like, download, and subscribe, and follow me on socials. You know, share this with everybody, your friends, families, people around you, people at the store, at work, anybody. Anybody could listen. And I really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.